Today is Monday, July 14th, 2025, and it is Yom Sheni, the second day of the week, 18 Tammuz, 5785, Parshat Pinchas. And this is the PL-89 calendar, a calendar that I have been working on for 13 years. This summer is turning 13. If this was my son, it would be having a bar mitzvah this year. So sometimes I like to think of it like one of my children. So this child is having a bar mitzvah this year, and it's interesting because this is the year that it's starting to come out, so to speak. Like if we were to compare it to a bar mitzvah boy, it's like that's the year that he becomes an adult and he starts, in a sense, coming out and doing mitzvos and doing the commandments and becoming a man in Jewish law. And so this is the year that this child of mine becomes a bar mitzvah and it's coming out, because it was hidden or relatively hidden for 13 years. And it's kind of interesting that, if to use another example, that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, it is said that he hid in a cave for 12 years and then went back for a year. So there's another 13-year connection there too. So this is the year of 2025, and it's based on a verse in Leviticus chapter 25, verse 20. It's also interesting that the numbers match up. This calendar is a lunar and solar calendar. It's based on the sun and the moon, which means it shows the Gregorian calendar, or a secular calendar, or Christian calendar. Sometimes I call it the English calendar, on which today is July 14th. And it also records and calculates the Hebrew calendar, on which today is 18 Tammuz. And it also records the Julian calendar, and the Julian calendar is 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar. So if today is July 14th, the Julian calendar is July 1st. So the 14th day of a month is always, the way I see it, it's a very interesting day, because that's the day that you fully get into July in terms of both calendars. Up until today, on Julian, we were still in June. But today is when we're fully in July, according to both viewpoints. And that makes a difference in many different instances, which will be described here. And up until now, I thought that the Julian calendar only applied to the Gregorian date, because the Julian calendar was the calendar that the world used. It was from I think it was the Roman Empire, which was the ruling empire, and the calendar was started by Julius Caesar in 46 before the Common Era, and the Gregorian calendar was a reform by Pope Gregory XIII in the year 1582, and so there was something that was wrong with the Julian calendar. It lost a certain amount of minutes per year or something like that, so it had to be corrected. And so today, what I was going to say was that the Julian calendar usually only applies to the Gregorian date. But I've now included the Julian formula, which means 13 days behind, also in the Hebrew. So those are the numbers of the day. The number of today on the Gregorian calendar and the PL-89 calendar, in this particular dispensation, the number is 29. A 29 is the box that is for the 14th day of any month, whether it's July or Tammuz, because it's lunar and solar. And this is the month of July or Tammuz in dispensation 2. There's 3 dispensations so far, and possibly a 4th. We have already passed 2 dispensations. Dispensation 8, which was from 2012 to 2020. Then the month or so that Corona came out, started the next dispensation, which was called Dispensation 4. It halved. And which means for 4 years, it went up till 2024. And in the springtime, or like after Passover, ER time, the Omer time of 2024, it started dispensation 2. Which seems like, because I basically backtracked, I basically said, if the first dispensation was 8, and the second one was 4, then it would make sense that the third should be 2. And now I'm thinking the fourth one would be 1. So there might be one more dispensation. If it's 8, 4, 2, 1, halving each dispensation. So we're like in the past halfway point of the dispensation 2. Dispensation 2, box number 29, is the 14th of July, and box number 23 represents the 18th day of Tammuz. Now, I'm focused these days on the Julian calendar for some reason or another. I don't know exactly why. And I should mention also that this is an experimental calendar. It's called the PL-89 thought calendar, the Mercury thought calendar, and the Mercury quantum entanglement thought calendar. Basically, even though I've been studying it for 13 years, I'm learning new things about it, and I'm by no means saying that this is a finished product yet. This is like almost like my R&D work and my own this is my R&D lab, and I'm discovering new things in the public eye, basically. So I'm not saying I'm showing this as an initiative to present to anything. I'm just saying what it basically is based on what I've learned about it so far and sharing my new learnings with it on a daily basis. But now I'm doing it, like I said, in the public view. So the thought for today is like this. Like I said before, the Julian calendar is 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar. So if today is July 14th, then the Julian calendar is July 1st. We started July today. So on this calendar, the Julian calendar in relation to today is box 38. This would be July 1st. That means 13 days ago, on July 1st, I was right here. And the Gregorian and the Julian was like right here somewhere, 13 days before that. So now that today is 29, and the Julian is 38. Okay? 13 days behind. Today, the Hebrew calendar is at 23 here, and 13 days behind it would be 32. So, one of the methods of analysis is putting the numbers together. Like I say, 29, 38, and then 23, 32. And what I noticed is something very interesting, that those two numbers put together parallel an exact order of boxes much earlier in this calendar. 13 days between 29 and 38, but if you look up over here, when it was the end of May/ER, if you see here, look at this. 29 is directly next to 38. Here, they're next to each other. And you come down to our time right now, they're 13 days apart. So, okay, that's 29:38, but the same thing happens for the Gregorian date. The same thing happens for 23 and 32. They're both next to each other. Now, 37 is next to 6, but it means the 37, 31, and then 6 and 1. 6 and 1, 37. I'm just trying to see if tomorrow it'll be the same thing. 6. It's not next to 1. It's next to 37. Next to 38. No, it doesn't work that way every day. It works that way just today. That's what I'm seeing. So that's interesting. I'm sure a mathematician would be able to explain why here they're right next to each other and here they're 13 days apart. But that's only one part of my concern. It's interesting that both, 23 and 32 and 23 and 32, 13 days away, and here they're right next to each other. And it won't happen that way every day. See, 31 and 1. No. And here, let's see, hold on. 23 and 32. Yeah, it's not the same. It's not going to be the same. Only today does the Julian match both of these things. So here's what I'm trying to get at. What in consciousness, this is called a thought calendar, because what it's trying to do is kind of hone in on various feelings or energies or thoughts that were at only specific to a certain time of the year. So if you can think about, I'm going to throw some words out that I'm not exactly sure, but like perihelion, when the sun is closest, or something when it, or when it's furthest from some other thing, it makes a difference in the feeling. So if the same numbers are connected to the Julian calendar and they're far apart, 13 days apart relatively, and over here at the end of May they're right next to each other, and every number has a meaning, then you can extrapolate, or that's what I'm trying to do, extrapolate what was the quality that made them close back then that makes them far right now. These are the kinds of qualities and properties I'm trying to harness, to understand them, and possibly, as the Spirit guides, as God guides, to be able to use them to demonstrate and explain things. And again, I should say that this is very experimental. I'm learning this as I'm going. But this is what I noticed for today.